Do instead of doing everything else and then doing the 10 minutes is I draw the liquid, the poor platelet layer, to put in the heater before I do anything else. That way, during those 10 minutes that I'm waiting, I can do everything else on the side. Okay? So what I usually do to make your job easy, so we're not gonna pop the lids of any of these tubes. If I pop the lids, I'm gonna start the timer and I'm gonna start clouding on it. So because I don't wanna pop the lids, I have to go through the cap. Now my needle is only 1.5 centimeters long. So that means I can't get too far down, right? So I have to go through the cap, but once I pierce through, I'm going to, there's a vacuum there, so I really have to control that plunger. Now also, when you pierce through the cap like this, right, you're gonna have to, I'll show you what the technique I use. So because the needle is not that long, I always try to look for the tube that's filled the highest. Some tubes might have a little variation, one might be filled a little bit higher than the other ones. So I always look for the one that's higher because that way I can get my 2 cc's of liquid that I need. Okay, so let's say they all look identical because Lauren did a great job. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw 2 cc's of one of these. So we open it up. Now there's 2 techniques that people use. One of them is they like to use their thumb to draw up the liquid like this. I don't do that because my thumbs are not long enough, so I can't get it to 2 cc's with just my thumb. Then I'm running into trouble, I'm trying to move, and then there's vacuum pulling everything down, If you let go of that plunger, once it's in the tube, it's gonna mix everything up and you lose that tube, okay? So now the technique I like to use is I take the needle, I aim it towards the back wall of that tube, just like so, right? And I kind of put it at an angle, push it down as far down as you can. See how is that an angle? The tip of my needle is facing the back side of that tube, okay? Then I put the numbers facing me so I know where I'm at. With one hand, I'm gonna hold the tube and I'm gonna hold the syringe. Okay, that's what that hand's gonna do. Gonna press it down. This hand, all this hand is gonna do is control that plunger. And when you guys do it for yourselves, you're gonna see what I mean by the vacuum. It's a very strong vacuum and it makes this up very easy. Okay, so it's very important to control the plunger. Now, don't fulcrum. I see a lot of people fulcrum. They want to fulcrum like this, or they want to do that, or they look for ways to fulcrum, but don't fulcrum because when you fulcrum, you minimize your ability to move, right? So I don't fulcrum at all. So all I do is I take my index, my thumb, I pinch the end of the syringe like this, and I start drawing. See, I'm drawing the liquid. And you keep drawing till you get to 2 cc's. If you start to see a lot of bubbles, see the bubbles? That means I'm running out of liquid at the end of that needle. I'm gonna gently tilt my tube forward so I can keep drawing until I get 2 cc's. Once I'm there, I'm gonna hold everything together nice and tight. You hear the vacuum? Pull it off of it. Now, if you look at it, my poor layer of plasma is here. My buffy coat is still intact. So I can still go back and use the buffy coat of this tube. So we're just gonna set it here for now, okay? So then I take this rubber cap from my syringe, I put it on there. Now, if we're gonna use this to inject, I can't have any bubbles in there. So you have to flick all those bubbles out. You don't wanna inject air into your patients. And then we'll push all the remaining air up. So usually I always try to draw a little more than 2 so I can push all the air out. Right, get all the bubbles out. Get it right up to 2. Then you're gonna take off the needle. Now, I'm gonna use this little blue cap. All this does, it seals off the PRF in there. So that when I put it in my heating machine, it doesn't leak into it and contaminate my machine, okay? Now, I could put it like this, but you see how much the syringe sticks out? You want full contact with that PRF. So you wanna take off the cap and just leave the little blue piece. And then you put it in the middle row. The reason we do that is because this is designed for different size syringes. The back row is for a 2 cc size syringe. This is for a 3, that's for a 5. You want nice intimate contact with your syringe, so you wanna put it in the appropriate row. This is a 3 cc, so it goes in the 3 cc area. Okay? Now it stays there for 10 minutes. So about 5:38, it'll be ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and draw another one. That one's gonna be for my membrane. I'm gonna draw another one so I can show you how to make the filler. So I'm gonna do the same thing.
Don't you want the buffy coat though?
For the filler, no.
No.
Remember what happens as soon as I put any cells in here.
You're killing
No,
it.
that kills them.
So you never want to put a buffy coat in there, because it's kind of like pointless, right?
So that
You're gonna-
membrane is without.
Well, at the end, I'm gonna show you how I add the cells back in, okay? Same thing, pierce towards the back wall of the tube, all the way down, right? Put it at an angle. Hold with one hand, the other one just controls the plunger. We're gonna draw 2 cc's, you go, so you see a lot of bubbles, tilt it forward. And keep tilting until you get to 2 cc's, hold everything together, and pull it up. So, you know, I could do it very quickly, but when you start, you wanna go a little slower, okay? Now, because I'm doing a filler, this is facial aesthetics, right? So, I'm going to actually use the cooler for this one, okay? Because I'm gonna have to inject that into someone's face. By the time I need to use it, it still needs to be liquid. So I have to put it in the cooler to guarantee it's still gonna be liquid when I need it. Okay. The membrane, I need that to clot, so that's why I did not put that in the liquid, in the biocool. Okay, now I go ahead and cover this again, get all the air out, push it up right up to 2 cc's of that liquid, okay? Take your needle off, take a blue cap, and we're gonna put that on there like that, okay? Put that in there, 10 minutes. Okay.
What if
Now,
you go 12?
that's actually a good point. If you go 12 minutes, perfectly fine. You never want to undercook. It's okay to leave it longer than 10. You're not gonna overcook it. It's gonna stay like that the same time. If you undercook it though, then it might be too runny and it might not set as well. So never undercook it. It's okay if you go longer. All right. Now that we wait for that, we got 10 minutes. So in this 10-minute span, I can go ahead and do my other stuff. I can make my sticky bone and I can make other stuff. Now, do we have bone grafted material?